What I'm about to say in this video is going to come off a little bit weird to me because, I'm a multiracial person, but I have a few things that I want to address. Throughout this video, I am going to be speaking on why it is important for us Indigenous people to represent ourselves more. And before I get into that, I want to start off with this statement that my chief had put up a few days ago. I reposted it on my YouTube community tab, but basically in this statement, they had spoke about what happened on June 23rd. So for those who don't know, there is this guy who had purchased some land down in Cataract, North Carolina. And during construction, they had uncovered more than 2,000 artifacts of this old Indian village that used to be in that area. They found longhouses, fishing racks, ritual sites, bones. They found a lot of things in that area. Now, it is on a hold for now. I have no idea what is going on currently, but from what I do know, everything is at a halt. Everyone's trying to figure out what's going to happen next. But during this, halting moment, my chief, along with other chiefs and their tribes, all gathered around to pray for their ancestors in this ancestral findings that has just recently been uncovered. And all they did was pray, burn some sweetgrass, nothing, dramatic, nothing like harmful. They wasn't protesting. It was just a peaceful prayer. But unfortunately, the residents that live in that area, who happened to be white, they didn't like what was going on, and therefore it didn't end pretty well. In the statement, it says that a 17-year-old girl was getting beat and a elderly woman jumped in to help her. Unfortunately, she got slammed to the ground. There was guns pointed at them. It wasn't a pretty sight, and it's to a point where a lot of people that was there, they are traumatized from that situation. So from that, everything is just like chaotic right now. And from all of this, I have gathered in my head of why it is very, very important to represent us even more. Now, here's the thing with me. When it comes to this person who bought this land, I'm not entirely mad at this guy. We live in a capitalist society, and this is how things run now. People come over here, they buy land, they build houses, whatever they want to build. They're not thinking of who was here before how everything is today. No one's thinking like that. It's 2024. It's unfortunate for him that he came across this uncovering of 2,000 artifacts. It's fortunate for us, the Indigenous people, but it's not very fortunate for him. But I understand this frustration he probably has, because thinking from his standpoint, he bought this land for a couple of $1 million. From what I've read in an article, he bought this land for a couple $1 million, not thinking of the sorts, just trying to build up houses, make his money, whatever. Like, I understand that. So I'm not entirely mad at this person. I will be upset if he does continue on and just says frick it and build these houses instead of, respectfully working with the Indigenous people, of course. But coming from that standpoint, I do understand. Putting myself in his shoes, if I bought a piece of land for a couple $1 million, didn't think nothing of it, and then came across an old village that used to be there, like, I can understand where this guy might be coming from if he's frustrated about the whole situation coming to a halt. But at the same time, out of respect, and if you have any morals, you would work with the Indigenous people on this situation, because this is something very historical and very important to the community. Now, moving on from that, now when it comes to the situation that had occurred, I don't think this is the time to, I'm not saying anybody's doing this in the community, I'm just saying, I don't think this is the time to pull back and be entirely silent, because when it comes to bullies, we all know if you come across as someone that is scared, the bully is only going to keep on bullying. It's not going to stop. And I don't think, personally, I don't think it is very wise to pull entirely back. I understand the safety, though. I do understand the safety. So I am not coming at this as, let's, make some noise, let's, start a protest, let's do all these things, because truth of the matter is, I wasn't there when that situation happened. And matter of fact, I live up in New York. I am not in North Carolina right now. So, I could say all I want on here, but the truth of the matter is, for the people that live in that area, it's not safe, right? If you get my drift, it's not safe for them, because these residents are people of that area, who knows what else they're capable of. But because of that, I just feel some type of way. What I think we should do more, and this might sound pretty small, but it's not, I think we need to represent us more with art, if that makes sense. And I'm going to explain a little bit about this. So when it comes to cultures, different cultures that are coming out here, you got the Chinese that are really making their mark out here, and they're showcasing all of their Chinese traditions and throwing it up, and you see it everywhere, at least in New York. When it comes to Italians, they're really good at sticking together. Matter of fact, there is this club not too far from me, and it's a Italian club, and they all got to pay $1,000 a month to be a part of this club. And that might sound crazy to someone, but to me that's pretty smart, because it's a bunch of rich people that are collaborating together. And I see them all the time when I'm like walking around the area. They all have their fancy cars, and that's what they do. And you have other cultures that are coming out here, like Caribbean people. It's pretty funny, because a lot of people from the Bronx are moving to where I live in Staten Island. They talked all this shit, but now a lot of them are moving out here. Excuse my language, but whatever. And they're starting to throw these festivals and stuff like that in the area. And they don't like the fact that we don't have certain fruits that they have in the Bronx, because they have all these fruits from the Caribbean, and we don't have certain fruits out here. I mean, I'm sorry, this is the North, this is not the Caribbean. But they feel some type of way. And I think now, and I think this fall, they're gonna have every Sunday, they're going to have a market, a Caribbean market, where they sell all their Caribbean stuff and whatnot, which is good for them, really good for them. And they really support one another. And a example that I have to make with this is, where I live, not too far from me, there's this block that has a lot of Caribbean stores, Mexican stores. At one point it was just Mexican stores, but now it's Caribbean and Middle Eastern people. They're moving over here. They have their stores. There was this one guy, though, who had opened up a shop in that area, and he is a Black American man, and his people is from North Carolina. So I thought that was pretty cool when I started, coming to the store, and we would talk and blah, blah, blah. And his people is actually from where my father's side, his people are from in North Carolina. So it was just a interesting interaction every time I would go to this guy's store. But he was also telling me that the people in that area doesn't like that he opened up his shop there. None of the Spanish people will go into his stores. The Middle Eastern people, they would be upset that he's selling Egyptian musk and all these other Middle Eastern essential oils and all this other stuff. And because he sold like a lot of natural soaps and oils and perfumes and colognes, and he sold a lot of that at his store. And I would always go to his store and buy certain oils because I would like to make my own unique perfume. But besides that, the Middle Eastern people didn't like the fact that he was selling certain Middle Eastern items in the store because he is a Black American man. And you know, the Caribbean people, I don't think they was really going into his stores and stuff like that. He had his customers though. He had his customers like myself. My father would go to his store, so on and so forth. But his store eventually closed down because he didn't have that much support in that area. And what I'm trying to say, and all of this rambling that I'm making, you know, it's really important for us Indigenous people to represent ourselves more and unfortunately compete in this capitalist society. When it comes to Indigenous people, the traditional way is to, you know, we're all human, live off the land, support one another, so on and so forth. But you have other cultures that are coming here and they don't care. And it's not that they don't care on purpose, I think. It's just that we haven't made our voices more known like how they're making their voices known. Like, I know about all the cultures that are coming out here. And it's so interesting how they're like having their neighborhoods and their communities and they showcase what they're about. The Jewish people out here, they have their buildings and all that's all of that. But when it comes to Indigenous people, it's like it's kind of quiet. And what I mean by it's silent, it's just the fact that although there are a lot of talented people in this community, a lot of our talent is not showcased. And we don't have a lot of stores like other cultures have coming out here. We don't have like a specific place where we can go and buy things that is Indigenous culture. And it may sound like separation. I'm not about separation as a multiracial person, but I just see how other cultures get down when they come over here. And whenever I speak like this, especially like around Caribbean people, they be like, oh, why are you talking like this? Because you're Caribbean. And you know, it's so funny. I'm only Caribbean to them when it comes to topics like this. When I speak about representing Black American, Indigenous people more, it's all of a sudden I'm Caribbean. But any other given day, I'm a Yankee because I was not born in the Caribbean. So, you know, me as a mixed person, I'm not for separation, but I do see how other cultures get down when they come out here. And I see the pushback the Indigenous community have, and the less voice that we have, the more we're going to get walked all over, basically. And there's going to be more and more people buying up land and building up things, because this is what America is about. This is what they know. You come here, buy up land, you make your mark, you make your money, you support your family, you support your people that are also coming out here. You know, it's a free-for-all, basically. They're not thinking about, excuse the loud siren, but they're not thinking about the Indigenous people that used to live here. And this is why it's so important for us to showcase, like, hey, we are still here, we still have these customs, we still have our traditions. So yes, I do feel like we do need to represent ourselves through art and let our heritage be more known. It's not it's not like a big protest, it's not anything violent. You know, this is more soft. It's not nothing like very, combating to where it's going to cause fights or whatever. This is one of the silent wars of art by showcasing your culture through art, if that makes sense. And then also through that, we need to compete with this capitalist society, because the truth of the matter is, when it comes to money, how can we compete with someone who has millions of dollars and can buy land? It should be to the point where we have enough money to buy our own land back. the fact that we don't even own our own land is crazy. We've been out here for a very long time. Yes, there's been a lot of fights and wars and being misclassified and all that, but it's just so crazy to me to see other groups come out here and within a few years they're already established versus us who are still fighting. And just seeing how that person can easily buy up land in that area for millions of dollars. I mean, I don't know. I'm just lost for words. I just feel like we do need to compete a little bit more in this capitalist society. So when it comes to representing Indigenous people and putting Indigenous culture on the map, there is this one person that I am going to mention. He did a great job at putting Indigenous people on the forefront because he was a playwright. He was born on a reservation somewhere in like the Midwest. My mom's cousin was married to him, and this lady, she is one of the ladies in my family that's been helping me find all my Indigenous relatives. So she was telling me about her husband and how he was a playwright and how much he left an impact on his people. And it's really sad because he passed away a few years ago, but he definitely left a blueprint. And me as a writer, I feel really inspired. So I'm going to show one of the books that he's written. Okay, here we go. So this man, his name was William S. Yellow Robe Jr. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And he's written a book. It's a play, actually, Where the Pavement Ends. 5 Native American plays. And he definitely left an impact for his people, his culture, and hopefully other people will follow his footsteps. Now, I'm just now finding out about him, so I have to do more research on this man. But I promised my mom's cousin, that I am going to read this book, and I will. And as a writer, I feel really inspired. And when it comes to my books, I've written a few. I got one out so far, but I'm writing more. And throughout this writing journey, I am planning on representing more of like multiracial people, like characters and Indigenous characters, and just really showcasing our culture. Because if we don't, even though it sounds really small, if we don't showcase ourselves, if we don't put ourselves on the map, we are going to get left behind. Like, it may be important to us as the community. We may showcase our art in the community, but the outside world, the people that's not a part of this community, they don't really care. That's all I got to say when it comes to us needing to represent ourselves more as Indigenous people and showcasing our stuff through art. It is a silent war, but it's nothing like protesting and being violent. We're just showcasing our culture more. And we need to do stuff like that more. And we need to do more things, like as far as owning stores and buying our land back. I would make that like a whole separate video. But we do need to do stuff like that more in order to compete with this modern society, because we will get, left behind. But that's all I have to say for this video. Justice for the hate crime. I would hate to see all of this get swept under the rug after what just happened. None of my people deserve that. They did not deserve to get violently attacked all because that they was praying. Also too, I hope that whoever bought that land will work with my chief and the other chiefs and coming up with a solution to this, because I feel personally that they should not build any houses on top of this old village that has been uncovered. There's more than 2,000 artifacts that's been uncovered. It's too, historical to just be built on top of. I would hate to see that happen. So with that being said, that's it for this video.